From 911 to 612 BC, the Neo-Assyrian Empire gained an infamous reputation for their military dominance. During its reign, they held control from Egypt to as far as Iran. Today, we're going to break down its military power to the weapons and tactics behind their impressive military record. To top it off, we're going to walk through the siege of Lachish to truly see their effectiveness in battle firsthand. This is the era of Neo-Assyrian Dominance. To understand is that this was one of the earliest standing armies, meaning they were heavily trained in their specific tasks. The bulk of this army was a mix of regular all-purpose infantry, archers, and spearmen. Every soldier in this army was armed with new iron swords. In addition, the all-purpose soldiers had shields, spears, and bows, allowing for flexibility on the field. The next division in the army was their armored infantry. Despite its name, it was really just comprised of archers and spearmen, and if needed, slingers for extra long-range support. Geared with stronger armor and composite bows, they provided the major edge in the conflict. For pursuit, containment, and recon, different degrees of cavalry were deployed, ranging from regular or heavy. Like the armor division, they were split between archers and lancers. Their partners, used for heavy charges, were the charioteers, carrying an archer or a spearman. Due to the speed and mobility of the cavalry, the chariot was soon rendered obsolete. The greatest and well-known elements was their siege engineers. Responsible for the rise of the siege tower, their job was to undermine the defenses of any city. This included digging under the city walls, operating catapults and battering rams, and of course, getting their trademark towers into position. However, their weapons and divisions didn't always dictate victory. The tactics behind their armies would allow them to succeed in their conquests. For example, they could cross rivers or moats by swimming on inflated animal skins. On the open field, the cavalry would be harassing the enemy on all sides, while the archers and infantry could attack at will. This took advantage of their cavalry, allowing for quick yet devastating attacks. During a siege, archers would hide behind shields to provide covering fire for the advancing infantry. The siege towers would also roll in, carrying archers and soldiers along with a giant axe to cut down any walls before them. The archers and towers weren't enough. While they were distracting the defenders, battering rams and ladders would exert additional pressure until the city was breached. Which leads us to their greatest tactic, brutality. Slaughtering the people of the city, others would be inclined to surrender when the Assyrians approached their walls. Their options were simple: surrender, pay up, and be spared, or fight and be obliterated down to the last person. If you were the leader of the city and this army came knocking on your door, what's the option you're going to pick? I thought so. By using their reputation, they were able to gain land and riches without losing manpower to do so. With these topics covered, let's get to the fun part, the walkthrough of the Siege of Lachish. I get it, guys, you're just as excited as me. In the year 701 BC, King Sennacherib, in his conquest of modern-day Syria and Lebanon, approached the city for aiding the enemy and surrounded them. He gave the city two options: surrender and live, or fight and die. They could surrender and face a less harsh punishment, or hold out until Egyptian reinforcements arrived. Unfortunately, they decided to hold out until aid arrived, causing Sennacherib to assemble his forces and attack. First, Sennacherib deployed his archers to open fire, killing defenders and allowing the infantry to advance. In conjunction, towers filled with infantry rolled up to the city walls, flooding the battlements with soldiers. While this took place, the king ordered his siege engineers to create a ramp up to the wall, the result being a massive wooden and dirt ramp that overwhelmed the defenders. Their families would join them soon after, as the Assyrian army slaughtered everyone and looted the city. After poor leaders drove the Neo-Assyrian army into a series of defeats, and a coalition of Medians and Babylonians, this oppressive army and empire would see the last of their days. However, their legacy lives on. Their resourcefulness, tenacity, and ruthlessness have been preserved through murals on palace walls, and their might has been replicated by others, all relying that the success of this once great army would pass on to them.